Seems like with every patch I'm making a how is Hawkmoon doing video. They keep tinkering with the weapon. It is my favorite weapon though, so let's briefly talk about it. Hawkmoon got a buff in patch 2.2, brought up its base range stat by 10, which I think was exactly what it needed to have it come back as a premier weapon. They also fixed the tooltip display, it was showing the wrong thing. I hadn't been using Hawkmoon that frequently before the patch. I started to change up my loadout for the raid, and for PvE pre-patch, I thought the weapon was pretty much fine. In PvE, there aren't as many instances of engagements where you were kind of on that fringe. The one spot I can think of is when you're doing totems in King's Fall and you're shooting the acolytes as they come out of the door, but even then, that was relatively consistent as a shooting experience. Post-patch, the only reason I haven't noticed a difference in PvE is because it was a little tough to tell in the first place. It was a very good weapon in PvE pre-patch regardless of the range nerfs. Its main issue was that it came with barely any ammo. Compare Hawkmoon to the first curse, which comes with more base ammo and had ways to refill the magazine without reloading. Now it's at 82 shots with no buffs, which is, I think, a good spot for it. I haven't really run into too many ammo problems, if any at all. The only time I did run into ammo problems is when I was only using Hawkmoons specifically to get clips for this video. So as long as you're shuffling around your weapons, you should be totally fine even without a hand cannon ammo buff. In fact, I think for PvE, the ammo buff was the more impactful of the two buffs, but that extra range boost is definitely nice to have to seal the deal on certain enemies. In PvP, Hawkmoon is back in full swing. That isn't to say that it was garbage in 2.1 or anything like that. It was still pretty good at its appropriate ranges, but once again, it just needed that little extra bit to have it be the most consistent experience that it could be. Pre-patch, it was still pretty good, you just needed to be a little more considerate of your positioning and your distance to your enemy. Now you're getting more of that consistency and more accurate shots. On top of Hawkmoon's buff, there's also Thorns and Last Words nerfs to take into consideration. Don't get me wrong, both weapons are still totally viable and usable, but with their slight nerfs and Hawkmoon's slight buffs, Hawkmoon can hang with the others a little bit better than it could previously. So basically, Hawkmoon is back for the foreseeable future. It was made a more consistent experience across the board, and it's really good. For any Prison of Elders challenges that require precision kills, it is awesome. At 320, I was one-shotting basically all low and mid-tier enemies who were also at 320. At 330, I left Vandals with a sliver of health, but as soon as you're higher than 320, you should be able to one-shot them as well, so that won't be a problem. It's awesome for those challenge modes that require precision kills. Wizards melt, Captains melt, so yeah, Hawkmoon, #1. Those are my quick thoughts on Hawkmoon. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.